Gil. Thank you. Good to be back. Welcome back. It is 6:01, and tonight is the Roswell Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Tuesday, December 20th, 2022, last one of the year. We have a roll call, please.
Commissioner McDaniel.
Present.
Commissioner Aguilar.
Here.
Commissioner Lassard.
Here.
Commissioner McCornack.
Here.
Commissioner Henderson.
Here.
Chair Story.
Here.
And Commissioner Gutierrez is absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Steve, would you swear in the staff and members of the audience, please?
Sure. If you're here this evening and are going to speak to the commission, would you please stand and raise your right hand? Answer the question. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give here this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, under penalty of perjury? Say, I do. May be seated.
Thank you, Steve. Now we have the approval of tonight's agenda. Pretty straightforward. Anybody have any changes or comments on the agenda? If not, I'd accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Steve and a second by Jesse to approve tonight's agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Next, we have the approval of the last month's meeting of November 29th, 2022. I believe that, let's see here, Saul, James, you were here, huh? And Steve and I were the only ones that can approve or vote on this since we were the only ones attending. Are there any changes to the minutes from last month? If none, I'd accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Saul and a second by Steve to approve the minutes from the November 29th, 2022 meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next, we have case number 22-039, which is a zone change for a cannabis project. If I could have a motion to waive the reading of the finding of facts, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Jesse and a second by, you guys kind of screwed me up there, and a second by James to waive the reading of the finding of facts and land use and zoning considerations for 22039. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Next, we have Kevin up to present the case for us.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Tonight's first case is a cannabis facility, a brand new cannabis establishment. This is the first one we brought before you of this type. This is a brand new, ground up, fully designed facility for cannabis. This is at 3500 South Main Street, which is also slightly different. Seems like most of our cases have been in the midtown or northern half of the city. This one down at 3500 South. So the request, of course, is for a approval of a zone change to CCAN and a conditional use permit to build and operate a new retail cannabis establishment with ancillary facilities at 3500 South Main Street. Again, I want to make it clear there is no variance associated with this application. This is a conditional use permit and a zone change. They have met all the requirements for setbacks. They have met all the requirements for distance requirements. There is no variance required for you to review on this project. Okay? Again, the name of the project is Hangar 84. This is going to be a uniquely designed facility showing a UFO-shaped retail establishment with an ancillary building for processing, production, and packaging of proprietary cannabis products for sale in the on-site cannabis retail establishment only. The Smith Engineering put together that particular site plan for us. You can see the two buildings. The octagonal-shaped building is going to be the one designed as a UFO, in a UFO type shape. The other square building, again, the ancillary facilities. Okay. You can see from this site, it is located, or this slide, it is located just south of the existing Coca-Cola production and dispensary factory, as well as the fact in the zoning map, it is located totally within the C2 zoning district. There is no other residential or other zones within 300 feet of this particular project. Okay?
Kevin, could you tell us a little bit what's an ancillary facility?
Ancillary facilities. Again, the license that Mr. Nasrallah and Great White LLC allows for not only retail sales, but minor production and manufacturing. So he will be actually producing his own product that will be sold in the retail facility. He's not doing a major manufacturing where he'll be selling to other facilities. This is proprietary product just for his facility.
He won't be growing or on site?
No, growing is, would require he be out at somewhere in one of the agricultural zones. We don't have any agricultural zones within the city of Roswell. It would be possible for someone to come in and in one of our industrial zones do an indoor grow facility, but that's not what's part of the application at this particular time. I believe, and Mr. Nasrallah may be able to speak to this, I believe he does have a grow facility in the county right now that has been approved and they are underway. So
Okay, thank
no
you.
actual cultivation taking place at this location. Okay. Again, just a site view from South Main looking northwest at the property. Okay. And the developer will be working with the city engineer possibly to provide for a median cut for left turn ingress and egress to the site. That has yet to be determined exactly, but it is something that he'll be required to do if he wants full turning movements. Okay. As of today's date, Planning and Zoning Office has received 0 protests, 0 verbal protests, and 0 inquiries on the project. So based on the land use zoning considerations, the findings of fact, surrounding land uses and regulations established by the Zoning and Municipal Code, Chapter 27, staff does recommend that the Planning and Zoning Commission hold this hearing tonight and take testimony and then make a motion to recommend to the City Council. Once again, I remind you that you have 3 options with respect to the motion towards the City Council. You can move to approve, you can move to deny. However, if you move to deny, you will need to make findings of fact associated with that, or you could move forward with no opinion whatsoever. Just move it forward. The City Council, under our current development code, is the final governing authority on all cannabis activities. But we are asking that you move it forward for approval. Zoning case 22039 CAN, which is a zone change to CCAN, a conditional use permit, along with the draft conditions of approval specified in Exhibit F. At this point, I stand for questions.
Kevin, I have a question that's not specific to this case, but to all the cases that I got to thinking about, all the ones we've done that have the zone change to the CCAN.
Yes.
What happens if these facilities close down? Does that zoning stay with that building?
No, if the facility is abandoned, vacated, or otherwise unused for a period of 6 months, the zoning reverts.
Okay. Any questions of Kevin from the commissioners? Thank you, Kevin.
All right.
Is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor of case 22-039? Please come up, sir. State your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Freddie Nasrallah, and my address is 21 Granite Circle in Roswell, New Mexico. I just wanted to say I'm a lifelong Roswell resident, and the buildings I'm going to build are going to be nice. And the UFO-shaped building, I plan on making it, just a UFO shaped with the lights and everything. So it's going to look pretty nice. I'm not going to build, come out here and build junk. And I'm also the builder and developer. That's pretty much it.
Anything else you'd like to say?
No.
Anybody have any questions, Mr. Nasrallah? No questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of case 22039? Anyone out there wishing to speak against 22039? I don't believe you guys raised your hand when we were doing the testimony.
I didn't hear anything he said when he asked. It was muddled to me. There's such an echo just on my end, on our end down here.
Okay. Well, we require everybody to be sworn in. Steve, would you mind swearing these two in for us, please?
I apologize.
Yeah, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury. Say, "I do."
Okay, thank you all. Now you may step forward, please. Say your name and address for the record.
My name is Guy Tipton. I'm the owner of New Mex Plastics at 3505 South Main Street. I'm immediately across from this particular location at 3500. We object to it because this is a retail location and there is zero pedestrian access to it. There's no sidewalks on the west side of the road. This is a highway where cars travel extremely fast. They've been clocked at 150 miles an hour. I think some of the newspaper here lately, there's actually been quite a few accidents there on South Main Street. And people walking across the street, it's a public danger. And that's a real problem. The speeds on that road are very fast. They take off from both Poe and Brasher, racing north and south in that area. And to have somebody try to traverse the traffic, 4-lane highway, when cars are exceeding the speed limit, that's a dangerous location for a retail outlet. And on those grounds alone, we object to just because it's a retail location at an industrial and commercial area. That's low in and out traffic with the businesses that are there.
Okay. Are you against the business in itself, or are you just against like the possibility of a median cut in the traffic?
It's not the median cut. There's no access there. People have to cross 4 lanes of traffic. I don't believe there's been a traffic study on this. I would guess not. There's no traffic controls in that particular area to slow down. If you, they put a stoplight in for the Pecos Trail right there just south of Alameda so that people can cross. There is no medians, there's no crosswalks or anything else in that area for people, foot traffic and bikes and other things to get across the street. And they have no access on the west side of the road. There is no sidewalk, and I think you can see from the picture that if people decide to walk on that side, they've got the cell tower that has grown weeds on that side, and I've actually seen people trip over there when they've tried walking because the bike path is on the east side of the road where there's actually there's quite a bit of foot traffic.
Well, and there's nothing been determined yet as whether or not a median cut would be put in there to allow left turns.
Well, that's car traffic. I'm strictly talking pedestrian traffic for a retail outlet, and that's why we're here.
Okay. Well, I'm not aware of. There's a lot of retail stores up and down Main Street.
Not in this neck of the woods on South Main Street between, I guess between what, Poe and Brasher. I can't think of a high traffic retail outlet in that area. It's mostly industrial, commercial. You know, the Coke plant. You've got a car auto dealership, or not auto dealership, but a car auto shop.
Yeah. The only thing I can really think of that might be an issue would be somebody coming off the bike path, you know, and trying to cross the street there to get to the west side from the bike path. I don't see anybody walking from downtown Roswell.
We see them all day. You stay out there. We see them all day long, and the cars race. I've seen 7 cars go. For whatever reason, they lost control. They go through the flood ditch that's adjacent, that runs north and south between New Mex Plastics and the cemetery. And so somehow they're moving that fast to go into the ditch and go out the other side of it. Or on a couple occasions they've rolled. And like I said, I think everybody can see, if you've ever been out there, or try to go out there around in the afternoon and see the car traffic and how fast they move in and out of traffic. And they race, a lot of times the kids leaving college are racing from Brasher heading north. And these cars are doing 180 to 100, 120 miles an hour in that area. That's very troublesome to have a pedestrian try to cross a busy highway where there is no access to go to a retail outlet.
Okay. Any questions of this gentleman from the commission?
I do. If those issues were addressed, for example, he has to get a building permit, all of those studies have to be done prior to any project being built. If those issues were addressed, would you still be against a retail outfit in
I
that
had-
area?
When you say address, what kind
Well-
of things are addressed? We've been out there, the company's been there since 1970.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with the area. What I'm saying is, in order for him to get a building permit, all of that has to go through the city engineer's office. So the possibility of a median and other issues that you're talking about, and I don't know that you've seen
We've
his
begged the city
plan.
for years for a median,
Okay.
for a cut across, but we're going through a gravel thing. We've begged for years. We've got nothing.
Okay, but what I'm asking though is, if those issues were addressed, would you still have an issue with the business being there?
When you say address, what,
Well,
I'm talking.
Well, you've brought up some issues.
The speed has always been an issue, and I think everybody here has sped up
Yes, I'm
once or
aware.
twice up and down that road. And it's very dangerous for a pedestrian. Again, the city of Roswell put in a crosswalk for people to cross the Pecos Trail right there in the middle of town, and you have to stop, and there is no traffic controls in that particular area where he's wanting to put a retail business. And there is a lot of traffic, foot traffic, that goes up and down that street.
Okay.
There's a lot of people
Thank you.
and I know you're driving it up and down, but when you're actually there and you're seeing this, it's surprising how much there really is.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm not gonna argue your points there, but you're well aware that the majority of the zoning along South Main is commercial, which could mean at any point in time, a retail store could go up pretty much anywhere there's vacant land. So,
It could.
You're gonna have the same issue no matter what. There needs to be something done by the city to help coordinate the traffic.
It's hard to see from the screen, the amount of parking it has, but it looked from, and I could be wrong on this, how many parking spots were you asking for?
This project has to be designed with one parking space for every 250 square feet. They meet that requirement of retail locations, so they meet that, plus the
But,
ADA requirements.
How many parking spots are you anticipating for this particular, how many people are expecting to come in and out? It looked like a lot of parking spots.
So we're looking at, number of parking spots, we got 5 in the back, 2 for
More than 20.
10, 12, 15, 16,
That's a good size outlet. I don't know, Buffalo Wild Wings, I don't think has many more than that. I mean, I don't know, I'm just gauging on what your design is here compared to what other, retail facilities have.
Again, based on what we have in many other retail facilities, Mr. Nasrallah is actually overparked, okay, for the amount of business he's going to be doing. So he's got actually, you'll have the latest and best in terms of the access. And again, if you see up in that site, as part of his development, he will be putting in sidewalks. So at least in front of his development, he'll be finishing that out.
What about in front of Coca-Cola where there is no sidewalk and you've got the drain, where you've got the slant going down into the deep ditch?
Again, that's a separate issue that the city engineer will have to undertake. This project right now, and just to give all the, go ahead and talk into the microphones again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
But the issue of sidewalks around town in total has become a big issue for everyone at the city council, at staff level and everything else. We are looking at engaging a number of different organizations, including Safe Routes to School, and we're already talking to Commissioner Henderson about CDBG grants and other things where we can develop additional sidewalks for pedestrian safety. Now, if I remember correctly, immediately to the north of this project is located in between Jaffa and Brasher, I believe is to the south. Okay, both of those at some point in the future, when the city engineer determines it's necessary, will become signalized intersections if they aren't already. with full traffic, with full sidewalks, crosswalks, and everything else. The problem we have, of course, is, as everybody who knows, the south end of town has been slow to develop. We're now starting to see that development. We're starting to see movement. So that movement will increase city staff's involvement in taking care of many of the problems that you're addressing right now.
That's in the future. What about now? What about public safety now?
Okay? As of right now, today, I wish the city engineer was here. We'd have him address that. But I don't believe there are any traffic warrants or anything else that would determine the need for additional crosswalks, sidewalks, or anything else based upon pedestrian traffic. The fact is, there's just not a whole lot of pedestrian traffic out there.
There's quite a bit. We see it every day, every week.
Again, but that the
But that's
process.
what we need to get the traffic study. That's obviously not been done. That's the point we're
Well,
trying to make.
the city engineer and NMDOT both run regular traffic studies all around town. Okay? I can go ahead and I can talk to Mr. Nahar about running an additional traffic study, but as far as this project goes, this project will have to meet all their requirements, including putting in the sidewalk and everything else. Beyond that, it's going to take additional measures that are not at issue tonight.
Like what additional issues that are, I thought we were here to learn about this and discuss.
Well, we're talking about this particular project. This particular project meets all the design and development requirements that the city has, including public safety, including traffic, including ingress and egress, parking, and everything else.
We're bringing up that there is no pedestrian access for retail. Anybody can go over. It's not a manufacturing facility where you have to have like a non-tax certificate to purchase a product. You're a retail outlet that anybody can go there
Yes.
at any time and purchase.
Right.
And the only access is across a busy highway.
And those pedestrians should be going to the nearest major intersection with a traffic signal and crossing safely.
Sure they should, but they don't.
Again, we cannot design for illegal activity. We design for legal activity. Okay? There are traffic signals at the major intersections on either end. Okay? They do have crosswalks. Okay? Now, walking, again, down the side of the road is difficult, yes, I agree. But we are looking at installing additional sidewalks throughout the entire city. But right now, our schools and our children take priority. Okay? This is located along a major highway. It's intended for vehicular ingress and egress. Okay, we're making provisions
But
for.
you have a busy pedestrian walkway, and there's nowhere to walk on the other side unless they twist their ankles, walking where there is no
Okay.
development. That's the point, and I don't, and I guess, how do you go about doing, when do we find out about the traffic controls and with the traffic study?
Well, they do that in the engineering phase of the and I'm speaking from experience as a contractor. They do this, do all of those studies during the engineering phase of the project. So everything has to go through the city engineer's office. So this sounds to me like you've got a couple issues that aren't really related to this project, is what I'm saying. Correct, you're right. But these are things that you're talking about that sounds like you need the police department out there, you need other things. That's all I'm saying, is that some of that is not necessarily related to the project that we're talking about right now. Okay.
What I would like to do is let you have my card, get a hold of me directly. I will make an appointment with the city engineer, and we will discuss all these issues. I said, I know right now the city engineer is concerned about traffic safety, pedestrian safety, all around town. We've got several of our,
Look in the front page of the paper this morning. I mean, big car wreck.
again, I think what you'll find is that when that gets all done, yes, car wreck, though, is not the fault of the design of the facilities. Car wreck is a fault of people who are lack of paying attention to what they're doing.
Or the lack of traffic control.
Well, again, we have people that ignore traffic controls all day long, every single day. Now, we can do what we can do, and I invite you to give me a call. We'll set up a meeting with the city engineer, and we'll find out what we've got going on in that area. But right right now, primarily because of what you saw in today's newspaper, okay, areas where we have tremendous amount of children involved, okay, specifically are the areas with highest priority. Okay. The south end of town will get priority in the very near future, but right now we have to find the money, we have to find the access, we have to find the grants. The need is there. I'll agree with that. Yes, sir. The need is there. We just have to find a way to fund it and implement it.
Mr. Tipton, was that your name, Mr. Tipton? This is going to go up regardless of what we do here. It was going to go up to the city council for final say. I would suggest strongly, whatever happens, whichever way we go, you still show up to the city council and present that'd be a very good forum to present your concerns, because then you have all the councilors and the mayor in front of you.
First we heard was maybe last week. I don't even think it's been a week, has it? When we first got the letter? It hasn't been very long.
Yeah, that's all that's required by law.
That's the first week we knew about that. I guess we're kind of a little slow on the uptake as far as what.
Well, the only notification you would have had, there was something in the paper a couple of weeks ago about the upcoming cases for tonight. There wasn't any real description, but by law or the city codes or whatever, that mailing goes out a certain amount in front. Yeah, and time in front of the meeting, and that's why you were here, now you were notified of this. I'm just suggesting, regardless of what happens, you would go to the city council meeting and present your case, your arguments, your findings, whatever, observations to the full city council.
The other thing you might want to do is contact your ward representative, your city council person directly. Okay, I believe this area is in Ward 5, okay, which would be Angela Moore and I believe Barry Foster. Angela Moore and Councilor Foster in Ward 5?
I think that's
Okay,
right.
I believe so. And again, give me a call. I'll give you their direct contact information as well. They're the two that represent this area. They'd be the ones you would go through to make an impact on the city council. Okay?
Is there anything else that?
Any other questions of this gentleman, Mr. Tipton? Thank you, sir. Ma'am, would you like to speak against the case? If you'd state your name and address, please.
My name is Linda Kaiser, and I'm at 2615 Coronado. My husband purchased Numex Plastics in 1974 when it was in bankruptcy. I have been out there 42 years, and we've had it, like I said, nearly 50. And I think that my son, who is the owner, and I actually work for my son, which is pretty cool, I think our objections really are, you are very mistaken about the amount of walk traffic. We're besieged. Sunday's paper had in it that the little ice place on the corner from us has been vandalized 3 times and broken into and burgled 3 times. And their cameras have verified that it's someone on foot that's doing this. We have all kinds of homeless people sleeping in our bushes, sleeping up against the building, people parking behind our building and living in their cars. It's just, you are very much mistaken about the amount of walking traffic that goes there, and it's on our side. And I think our concern is whether you put some kind of cut across for driving, you're still going to have a lot of foot traffic on the east side of a 4-lane, fast-moving highway. And when we've tried to get something done about our turn-in, we were told that it was up to the state, that the city couldn't even do anything because that's considered state road. And that's what we were told a number of years ago. I don't know if that's changed, but right now, all of the walking access is on our side of the street, and we see a lot of it. We see a lot of it. And I don't know how you're going to get away from that. It's a very fast-moving area. If the people can catch on the south, if they can catch the green light coming out of the air base, if they catch that green light at the relief route, they will blow through Brasher. Guaranteed. Many, many do. We have what my husband calls the immortals that go incredibly fast on their motorcycles, in flip-flops, tank tops, shorts, and they're going, and they are headed to town. And if they can catch Poe, they're going to keep on going. We had a situation in December of about 3 years ago where a very bad crash just a block from us. I was almost in it because the car had no headlights and they were going south in the northbound lane. It's a busy highway. It really does, whether it was an antique store going in there or a coffee shop, it is not conducive to the fast-moving traffic that's on that road. And thank you for your time.
Anybody else in the audience wishing to speak against this case? Commissioners, got any questions of anybody? Any comments? Being none, I would accept a motion, please.
Based on the land use and zoning considerations, findings of facts surrounding land uses and regulations established in the zoning ordinance and Chapter 27 of the Municipal Code, I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of zoning case 22-039 CAN to City Council, which includes a zone change to CAN and a conditional use permit with conditions of approval in Exhibit F. Second.
We have, we have a motion by Saul and a second by Jesse to recommend approval to the City Council for case number 22-039. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Being none, the approval will be passed on to City Council. There again, I believe, Kevin, can they appeal this decision, or since it goes to City Council, they just show up and?
Your decision is neither for approval. You are not the final decision-making authority, so at this point in time, there's nothing to appeal. Okay. The project moves forward and goes to the city council at that point in time. Again, I would suggest if you would like, please give me a call or send me an email. I will get you in touch with your ward representatives, give you their contact information. The issues you're bringing up are not new. South Main is, and there's some confusion between South Main and Southeast Main. Southeast Main is a state highway. South Main, where this is not a state highway. This is a city. Again, I can't I can't help what you were told. I'm only letting you know that Southeast Main is the state highway. South Main is a city major, thoroughfare. Okay, so at this point, go ahead and please get in touch with me. I'll get you in touch with your city council people, and then the city council meeting will be January 8th, I want to say, Meredith, or is it 8th or the 12th? Whatever the second Thursday in January is. So, right here, 6 o'clock p.m. again. Yeah. 12th. Okay.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right.
Okay. Now we will move on to case number 22-040, which is a request for approval of a zone change to CCAN. Can I have a motion for the waiving of the reading of the finding of facts?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Jesse and a second by Steve to waive the reading of the finding of facts and land use and zoning consideration with respect to case 22-040. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Kevin?
All right. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, zoning case 22-040 CAN, located at 737 North Main Street. Slightly different from the one that we just did. This is what I would call an adaptive reuse of an existing building that is downtown, one that was recently vacated due to the closure of one of our local franchise restaurants that closed. But we now have a new business wanting to move in. Okay, it's a request again for a zone change to CCAN, a conditional use permit to operate a new retail cannabis establishment at 737 North Main. Again, much like the previous case, no variance required on this. It meets all setback requirements, it meets all distance requirements, so there's no special requests associated with this. It meets all the guidelines of the ordinance. Okay, Pecos Valley Production is the one making the request. They also have a facility on Country Club. It was one of the first existing facilities that was converted from a medical facility to a combined medical and adult use facility. They're coming back with this one. They're taking the old existing A&W restaurant and converting it, so it's already got a drive-through, it already has front counter space. It's, looks like it's gonna be a kind of a neat little facility once it's put together, okay? Again, Chavez County Assessor's map shows it, again, where the existing A&W or the previous A&W was. The zoning map shows it all within C2. You do have some I-1 immediately to the west, but again, no residential development or any other setback problems associated with the development. As of today's date, the Planning and Zoning Office received 0 written protests, 0 verbal protests, and 0 inquiries. And we would like to recommend that, again, based on the land use and zoning considerations, all the findings of fact, and the fact that they meet all the requirements under Chapter 27, we recommend that you open and hold the public hearing tonight. You take testimony and then make a recommendation to the City Council for approval of zoning case 22040 CAN, which includes a zone change to CCAN and a conditional use permit. I do believe we have a representative of Pecos Valley Production in the audience to speak, but unless there are any questions, staff stands available.
Commissioners, got any questions? Kevin?
None?
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of case 22-040, please state your name and address, please.
Good evening, Mr. Commissioner and members of the committee. My name is Leonard Salgado, 4000 East Hobson, here in Roswell. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you this evening. Again, my name is Leonard Salgado. I'm the Director for Business Development and Expansion for Pecos Valley Production. We're based here in Roswell, as many of you, I'm sure, are aware. Really, our reason for being here is really simple. We want to open up a second location. And obviously, for any business, whether you're selling coffee or you're selling cannabis, when you are considering opening up a second location, of course, a lot of thought and consideration goes into that decision, and we couldn't be happier to be able to do this in what we call our hometown. So we're very excited. We're very proud to be able to be here in front of you this evening to make this request. And really, the expansion of our existing operation really is to create opportunity and to create jobs here in the city of Roswell. Well, as Mr. Mavers indicated, we are here to seek your approval for the zone change and the conditional use permit that will allow us to sell adult use and medical cannabis at 737 North Main. Based on the report developed by Mr. Mavers and his staff and the supporting documents that we've provided to his office, we are fully prepared to comply with his office's conditions of approval in accordance with the ordinances that have been established by this group and the city of Roswell. I'd just like to really provide you with some highlights about our organization and kind of what we've been up to in the last few years. We now employ, I'm happy to say, I'm very proud to say, we employ over 150 people here in Chavez County. The new location will employ an additional 7 to 8 new team members. In fact, I will tell you, in September of this year, we were awarded a job creation grant from the State Economic Development Department to create 29 new jobs at our production facility here in Roswell. We also continue to serve the over 4,200 medical cannabis patients that live here in Chavez County, and we've been doing that for the last 7 years. We currently operate 17 retail locations in 10 New Mexico counties, and we also have 3 new facilities under construction in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and Espanola. So we've been pretty busy, to say the least. In case you all are not aware, I will tell you that we do operate under 2 specific laws in New Mexico. One is the Medical Cannabis Program. The other is the new Cannabis Regulation Act that, of course, controls the new adult use program. In both of these statutes, we of course operate under the rules and regulations as set forth by the New Mexico Department of Health, the New Mexico Licensing and Regulation Department, and the newly formed Cannabis Control Division. Of course, we operate under the ordinances that have been established by every county we operate in, and certainly because we have an existing facility, we are fully aware of the ordinances established by the city of Roswell. And by the way, just to clarify and to emphasize, as an organization, we take all the cannabis laws, rules, and ordinances very seriously, and we do try to operate in a very transparent manner. Just a few additional points that I'd just like to clarify. As Mr. Mavers indicated, we have not received any negative comments or concerns that we know of in regards to this location. Certainly, we operate in another facility on West Country Club, and again, we have not been aware of any concerns by any of the surrounding businesses or any existing neighbors at our existing location. And to emphasize, we realize that public safety is a major concern, and we are aware that that just because of the nature of our business, public safety questions come up. So I just want to address a couple of things as it relates to public safety. Number one, we have controlled access to our facilities, okay? Our front door is locked. You cannot get into the facility. We let you into the facility, okay? Once you are in the facility, a driver's license or a medical cannabis card is checked every time you come into the building. When you come into the building, you will notice cameras, security cameras that are throughout the interior and the exterior of the building. Those cameras are recording 24/7, and those cameras are in place for the safety of our customers and our employees, okay? All cannabis product, at the end of the day, all cannabis product is stored in a secure vault, right? So it is secured away from everybody. And lastly, we have retired and off-duty police officials that have been hired to patrol our dispensaries, okay? Let me just very quickly close with just these last comments. Pecos Valley has roots in this community that go back over 40 years, number one. Our goal is to create jobs and opportunities for our team members here in the city of Roswell. We want to bring new and reoccurring tax revenue into Chaves County through adult use sales, and we've been doing that for the last 4 months, I believe, since we were approved to sell adult use here in the city. We want to create a professional and safe dispensary environment and work to educate everyone in this community about the benefits of medical cannabis. We want to be recognized as a business partner in this community and give back to Chaves County and the city of Roswell whenever possible. And lastly, we want to be recognized as a good neighbor, and I think we are, and we will continue to do that. So I thank you again for the opportunity to be here this evening. I'm open for questions. But that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from the commission? No questions? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this project? Sir, you, being none, is there anybody wishing to speak against case 22-040? Anybody against this case? Being none, I would accept a motion, please.
Based on the land use and zoning considerations, finding of the facts surrounding land use and regulations established in the zoning ordinance and Chapter 27 of the Municipal Code, I make a motion to recommend approval to the City Council on case 22-040 CCAN.
Second.
Jenna, does that include the conditional use permit when the conditions of approval in Exhibit F
Yes.
to be included? Thank you. Could we have a motion by Jana and a second by Steve to recommend approval to the City Council of case number 22-040? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Case passes. Thank you all. That is the end of our cases. You guys in the audience are certainly welcome to stick around and listen to the other business and comments, or you're welcome to leave. Next item on the agenda is other business. Does that mean you have some other business, Kevin?
I figured you'd go to public comments, let the folks have a chance to talk, and then we talk about announcements.
Any public comments that were not, already part of a case? Being none?
Mr. Chairman, I just have a question I'd like to ask.
Sure.
Kevin, by chance, if these two are approved by the council, how many cannabis retailers do we have?
I
Both
believe that will
medical
bring
and
us to a
recreation.
total of 10. 10. And based upon your concerns that were expressed in the last month or two, I have been forwarding some economic development information to not only the City Council, but occasionally to the Planning and Zoning Commission. We have seen the revenue from cannabis flatline in the last couple of months. I do not know how many more. It'd be, I think, inappropriate of me to try to guess at this point how many more cannabis facilities, retail facilities that the city can support. I'm also getting some feedback. In fact, one of the announcements I wanted to make was to give you a heads up on what's coming next month. Next month, we'll have at least one, possibly two variance requests from cannabis operators asking for extended hours. Okay? This is, I believe, a sign that some of our cannabis facilities are struggling to find their way in the marketplace. They're looking for a competitive edge. They believe opening earlier, staying open later will give them that. Obviously, it'll come that those variances will come to the Planning and Zoning Commission first, but it will be up to the City Council, because the City Council at this point has set standardized hours for all of our cannabis operators in order to create that level playing field. Whether they will want to deviate from that or not, I have no idea. At the City Council, this current City Council is looking at things considerably differently than the previous City Council did. So we're all in a bit of a gray area right now. Okay. But other than that, the only other announcement I had was to thank you all for your service this past year. I truly appreciate it. This is the end of my first full year. I was here only 10 months last year, but I hear the full year. It has been absolutely joy, a pleasure. It's been wonderful to work with all of you this past year, and I wish you all nothing but a very, very Merry Christmas, and all of us an incredibly prosperous 2023.
Thank you, Kevin. Same to you and all the staff. We appreciate everything you guys do. Do we have any announcements of anything? Meredith, you got anything? Any other comments? Anything? What time we got? We're going to 6:49 and we are adjourned. I don't think